Yeah, I feel powerful, man. I fucking love it. I'm not gonna lie.
Nice.
I've been dealing with a nagging upper back injury on my right side for about 3 years now. And I went pretty much the full length of the high point of COVID. So about August 2020 to May 2021, trying to rehabilitate the injury. I give my physical therapist a lot of credit because he really tried all different angles and attacked it, thinking it might have been something with the neck, might have been something with my hip, but it didn't necessarily mitigate the pain in the way that I knew that I was okay to start lifting, but I did it anyway. So I was lifting for about 2 months. Still didn't feel great. I sort of just but I was putting up the pain because I was doing my favorite thing, which is lifting weights. Then I was in a pretty substantial car accident in August of 2021, was rendered unable to exercise for 4 or 5 months. Then I started doing stuff on my own to try and reintegrate some basic movement to relearn how to, you know, fire different muscles, but wasn't really getting where I wanted to be. So I asked Jake to help me out, and I've made a lot of significant progress over a month and a week and a half, whatever how long I've been doing the program. And I've been back to doing a lot of the exercises I enjoyed doing beforehand, pain free. I get discomfort every now and then, like we all do, but it used to be almost a 7 out of 10, really painful stuff. And now, whenever I get any pain, it's maybe like a one, if that, maybe a 0.5. So I'm back to where I would like to be. I was so caught up in this sort of, and you speak to this all the time, this culture of keep making all exercise information on the internet so complicated, right? Everybody's telling you something else to do. Somebody, for example, the knees over toes thing. Some people are telling you don't go knees over toes. Some people are telling you go knees over toes. They're citing this article. These other people are citing this article, and it can make somebody like me who's trying to get back, knowing what they need to do to get back, but not knowing where to start, really frustrating. So having somebody just say basically, keep it simple and just stick to the basics to get back into doing what I love to do was the most helpful thing, because I was, writing my own programs and stuff. Cause I know what I need to do and things like that, but there's so many exercises out there, and sort of a curse of over information, I guess you could say. I can't think of the right word, but like the curse of having too much information bit me pretty hard. So the bug of having too much information bit me pretty hard. So you were really helpful in sort of keeping it simple and breaking it down and just being like, keep it as simple as possible and do this. And I really enjoyed that, because that's what I like to do. I don't like to spend a lot of time in the gym. These I did do a lot of stuff every day, but the workouts themselves really only took me about an hour and 20 minutes on average every time, from starting to stretching. So that I think that was the biggest thing, was keeping it simple and sort of just giving me that initial push up the escalator, for sure. I mean, for sure, the biggest thing was the mental freedom. Like I've talked to my dad was a very esteemed personal trainer back in the day, and he loves exercising, and that's sort of where I got my love for it. And he's dealt with a lot of injuries in the past and things like that, and he was always the person I talked to about these sorts of things. And the way I described it to him was, during my injury, I was a horse with reins being pulled back, and once those reins were let go, I would just start running, right? And I do end up still having pain every now and then from the exercise that I do, but over the last 5, 6 months, it's been nothing compared. Like, I'm able to do my things again. So I think I can confidently say that the reins have been let go and the horse is running now, which is like really something I've been literally, like that metaphor I've been thinking of in my head since the dog days of December 2020 during the height of COVID when I wasn't able to do anything. And yeah, I mean the physical positives are undeniable. You know, you're gaining muscle, you're getting more healthy, you just overall feel better, your joints feel better, your muscles feel better. But honestly, I think it was the mental for me. Like there were so many times during my injury where I almost cried because I was just like unable to do the only thing, the thing that made me the most happy, right? And now that I'm back doing that, you really have to sit back and like be grateful for these moments where you feel like you're able to do the thing that you love doing the most. So mentally for sure was the biggest help. The first, like in terms of like, I can't think of a better word to describe this, but customer service is awesome because you answered me right away. You would always answer right away when I would take videos of things like that. Because I'm, so nitpicky about a lot of this stuff. I actually want to send you the new RDLs that I did today. But so I think that was really great. The exercises were all, besides a select few at the end, just to, sort of blow yourself out, they were all compound exercises, right? And so I think that's one of the bigger misconceptions for beginners in the gym. They don't necessarily know what they're supposed to be doing to like gain muscle the most. Compound movements are the way to go, right? So squats, deadlift, bench, the step ups, even chin ups, which are my favorite exercise across literally all sorts of different types of exercise and sport. Doing things that benefit multiple muscles at once, I think, is the biggest thing, right? So making those the most important, I think, was the most beneficial. And, like I said, I'm a little bit more knowledgeable than most people. But when I saw that, I was like, he knows what he's doing, because that's the stuff that you need to do that's most important. And that should be done first. So I thought that's something great. It might be sometimes overlooked, but you'd be surprised with some of the things that some people on the internet put out as programs, and which are complete ridiculousness, right? So that was really beneficial. And I think the other, thing is, everybody thinks you need to go to the gym every day. If you're working hard enough and you're doing enough in those splits every day, you don't need to go every day. And that was something that I sort of reintegrated into my head, because, I was doing intense movement before I started the program for about 6 times a week, which was definitely, I didn't need to do that much. So I'd say those were
probably
definitely
noticed your recovery was better doing less, right? And you're making
yeah.
gains faster.
I also was just like, and this may sound more like counterintuitive or whatever, but I was way more tired going to sleep at night, which is important, instead of, after my workouts, right? So like, it gave me the endorphin and energy and adrenaline rush I was looking for, and it sustained me throughout the day. So like, I usually have to take like a 45-minute nap once I'm done with all my work, and I only needed to do it 2 or 3 times throughout this entire program. And it was usually on the weekends when I had an off day and I was out doing other things. I would sometimes close my eyes or do the Jocko nap and do like 8 to 10 minutes and then be back doing my thing. So I just felt better. Like I had higher energy levels, obviously, which makes sense because you're exercising more. It was right. Like everything, like we're meant to be omnivores, right? So, and during my program, I reintegrated a lot of foods that I remember way back in the day helped me build muscle a lot. So like I have full fat cottage cheese before I go to sleep, which is like my favorite thing ever, with some raw honey and pineapple. That's like my favorite, post game sort of deal. I've got like red potatoes back in my diet, which is something that you really enjoy. Like I don't really eat that much rice because rice sort of makes me exhausted. I'll eat it as like a, like a once or twice a week, but I sort of stuck to like the same thing pretty much every day, like based off a lot of the stuff that you were eating that I already knew I had to eat, but like it was something that I um, realized I should try, and it made me feel a lot better. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of like the big meals, like 2 or 3 times throughout the day. So I eat about 4, but I eat a little bit smaller throughout the day. But I'd say like even outside of the program, like the stuff that you have on your Instagram was also super helpful as well. It was great. I'm definitely now like I'm more motivated than ever to be in the gym. That's for sure because I'm making up for lost time and I'm thankful. I'm on it. It's going to sound weird, but I'm thankful for the days when I was injured badly because that's now my top motivation to just be better every day. Right. So, when there's a day I don't necessarily want to go, because we all have them. I don't care who you are. There are going to be days when you're going to say you don't want to go to the gym. I have this specific negative experience where I'm like, remember when you weren't even able to go? That's why you should go now. And I think that's really aided that mindset, along with the programming that you wrote, really aided in making this perfect storm of motivation for me to get back to doing what I really love to do.